In today's podcast, I want to talk about learning to love more, which sounds really easy, but I think it's really hard. So I'll speak to you a little bit from the chapter I wrote in It's All About Love, and then I'll talk afterwards. Truthfully, loving some people is hard work. They can push us to the brink and make us want to walk away. Although we could choose to leave, our love and sense of duty don't always make this an option. Age can be a reason. We have to stay, or in some cases, illness. And often it's just because they're a family member, like our mum or our dad. Individuals who are difficult need more love, and that's where we come in. Some people seem unlovable and others shy away from them. They can be complaining, cranky and downright obnoxious. In this book I've outlined various ways to love these damaged souls. I'm encouraging you to rise up and love them more. This sounds so easy, yet it takes a strong loving heart to give more love to the loveless. We might want to yell at them, tell them to get their lives together or stop being so appreciative. We simply, however, need to give them more love. Giving love to someone who's difficult takes a great deal of personal strength and commitment. If we believe that love can heal, then by our very actions we are doing the best given the situations. When others cause us stress or give us a hard time, it's challenging to give more love. In a way, the part of us thinks they don't deserve it, or we are being insincere, considering how we truly feel. But love given is never wasted. When I gave more love and rose above the situation, I admit to having conflicting emotions. Some of my higher self was fine with it all, while my cranky human looked on in horror. Still, once I got over myself and kept sending love and showing love, there was a definite shift for me. Rising above everything and loving in this fashion requires us to stretch ourselves and work in another realm. The occasions when I worked like this, I found it weird and an uneasy experience. It was nothing I had consciously done before. Maybe I unconsciously loved this way, but being aware of what I was doing, it did feel strange. Did not expect any thanks or any form of appreciation with this work. Do not expect to walk away and feel better for it. Love given in this way and rising above is a pure act of kindness and love. We do it knowing there may be no return from the recipient. When love is given without measure, it has an entirely different quality to it. I believe it is the closest we come to godly or spiritual love for mankind. I also believe that if you are reading this, you already know how to give this kind of unconditional love. At the time, perhaps you were just not aware that you were doing this. Loving and rising above shows our capacity for love and shows others how magnificent love can be. In loving, not only are we strengthened, we exhibit our ability to ascend in love. When I first became conscious of trying to love more unconditionally and stepping up in love, it did feel foreign in a way. I had been doing it, I suppose, but now I was really doing it consciously. So I did two things. I stepped up and was more loving. However, I still made boundaries. I don't think you can do this without making some kind of boundaries. So you can put up with so much and you'll be loving about it, but you still need to have personal boundaries, and that is self-love. When we love the ones who seem to be difficult to love, they can often not respond as you would wish. However, that's not the point. It's about what you're doing, not about what they're doing. It's about you being more loving, you being more kind, you being more forgiving. That's what it's about. It's about your evolvement. It has nothing, they're just your lesson. I mean, sometimes it will feel like they're your punishment, but they are really just your lesson. And as you become more conscious to do this, you will find that your judgment will lessen, you will accept others. And in doing that, in a way, you don't judge yourself as much and you will accept yourself more. It is difficult to do at times, and I know there are a few ways you can handle it, particularly when you get hurt. It's hard to be loving. Normally we want to withdraw, and that's like a safety thing. We have protection. Or we might want to lash out. But the idea of loving them more doesn't seem to come to mind at the time. But that's what you have to do, I think. So when they hurt you, just send them more love. I usually send it to their heart, or I send them pink light, or I just send them love. And I just, every time I think of them in the context of that I've been hurt, I just keep sending love to them and love to open their heart, because they'll receive it or not. The other one is when you're really angry with them. If you really get really angry, and that's a rightful emotion, I believe, then you might need to keep sending a while you try and dissipate your own anger. Writing it out, having a little rant to yourself, carrying on to a friend might work, but not particularly dealing with them while you're in that angry state. You're better dealing with your anger than coming to them when you're in a state of love toward them, because you'll have a better outcome for you as well besides them. It's rightful to be angry. People do things that really annoy you, and people are selfish and can be really nasty sometimes and obnoxious. However, if you step back, deal with your emotion, the hurt or the anger, then you'll be able to come from a place of love with them. I usually send the angry ants lots of love because they sure need it. Their anger's coming from either frustration or hurt or pain. And people who hurt other people are hurting normally. This is not an excuse, but this is often true. Also, people who damage others are usually damaged. As long as you understand that damaging people damage other people. They may not do this consciously, but it actually does happen. And once you have an understanding of who's damaged around you, through sometimes no fault of their own, but they're reactive because of it, then you can treat them in a different way and don't be as reactive back. Because sometimes their damage is speaking to you. It's not really them. So good luck with your loving people more. I found it was not something that other people, if you spoke to them about, agreed with you. They all wanted to punish them and not talk to them and tell them off and blah, blah, blah. But I found that loving them more, sending more love to them, and still having a voice and making boundaries, telling them if you were hurt, being truthful, telling it made me really upset when you said that or did that. I was really upset. That's your feeling and you're owning it. Often had a much better result in the long run. The more of us who are loving and kind to others, regardless, that we teach ourselves, but also, in a sense, we show people another way to do it, which is not coming from those emotions of anger and hurt and emotional pain. Because if we ride on those emotions, we'll find our outcome will be very much different. It's a challenge to do this. I would not say it's easy, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. At first, when I did it consciously, it felt a little awkward. Not fake, but a little awkward because I hadn't sort of got my head around what I was actually doing. But the more I did it, particularly sending them love and sending them good light and sending them healing energy, however you like, prayers, however you like to do it in your way. These reaching out of love to these people, saying loving things to them as well, making sure that you're verbal and honest and tell them that you love them enormously. I love you to bits. People need to hear this. Most of us just want to be loved and appreciated. I mean, it's as simple as that. And if you can give love and appreciation even to the ones who are driving you nuts, and be honest with that, you can really ascend in love. Try it this week. I'm sure you've got a few challenges there. Often they come within family and friend groupings. However, you can meet them in the supermarket, someone who's really grumpy or someone who's very difficult at work. And if you handle it a bit differently, in a more kind, loving way, perhaps you'll get a better response all round. It's something that once you're conscious of, it's much easier to do. I do it almost automatically now. I don't go to the human place, which is all the negative things that you want to do, but I do express those in a safe environment here or wherever I have to say or talk or write or whatever I do, do my tapping. But then when I deal with the person, I really come from my heart. I try to come from my heart, not from, as I say, my liver. Enjoy your week. Love yourself more. Love them more. Because that's all we're here to learn is love.